Why does awakening feel like loneliness instead of freedom? You thought awareness would bring celebration, but instead the familiar world looks strange. Conversations once warm now sound hollow. You nod, you smile, but deep inside you're detached, as if tuned to another frequency. This isn't arrogance. It's the silent shock of realizing your soul no longer fits the old reality. You wonder if something is wrong with you. You used to laugh easily, connect quickly, and blend into the rhythm of others. Now their words feel empty, their energy heavy. Even casual talk drains you, like breathing stale air in a windowless room. You're not cold or antisocial. You're awakening, and what once nourished you no longer feeds your spirit. This stage feels like exile. You're surrounded by people you love, yet feel oceans apart. Their joys don't touch you. Their complaints echo endlessly. You search for meaning in conversations, but find only noise. You ask yourself, am I broken? Or am I finally seeing clearly? This is the paradox of awakening. It expands your vision while narrowing your connections. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist, anticipated this struggle long before modern spirituality gave it a name. He didn't call it awakening. He called it individuation, a deep psychological and spiritual evolution. Individuation is the birth of your true self, and like all births, it is messy, painful, and disorienting. What you are experiencing is not failure. It is transformation. Individuation is the slow unraveling of who you thought you were. The masks, the roles, the borrowed identities, one by one they begin to fall. At first it feels like freedom, but then comes the cost. The relationships built around those masks begin to crumble. Suddenly you realize some bonds were never with your authentic self, but with the persona you wore to be accepted. This is where the fatigue begins. Your nervous system is still wired to play old roles, to smile, to please, to entertain, to agree. But your soul is no longer willing to pretend. That friction between conditioning and consciousness is what drains you. It's not that people are toxic. It's that the self you used to perform has disappeared, and there is no actor left for the stage. Jung described this false self as the persona, the mask we create to survive. At work, with family, even among friends, the persona gives us safety, approval, belonging. But it is only a costume. Awakening begins when the costume no longer fits. You feel it slipping, tearing, suffocating. The real you stirs beneath, whispering, there must be more than this. As the persona cracks, your vision sharpens. You begin noticing how much of life is performance smiles that don't reach the eyes, words spoken to avoid silence, laughter masking emptiness. What once felt normal now feels unbearable. This awareness is not judgment. It is sensitivity to truth. And once you taste authenticity, even a little, falseness becomes exhausting. You may resist at first. You try to keep playing the role. You tell yourself to just relax, enjoy, fit in. But your body betrays you. Your chest tightens in shallow conversations. Your energy drops in crowded rooms. Your soul recoils from gossip, complaint, and noise. What you're feeling is not social failure. It is the old reality dissolving before your eyes. And so begins the sacred tension, the gap between who you were and who you are becoming. Jung taught that growth always comes with separation, the shedding of what is false to make room for what is real. This loneliness is not punishment. It is initiation. You are not drifting away from others. You are drawing closer to your authentic self, and that changes everything. This is where the shadow enters. Jung used the word shadow not to mean evil but unseen. It is the hidden side of the self, the fears, the envy, the anger you were told to bury. But also your brilliance, your creativity, your power to say no. Awakening cracks the door, and suddenly your shadow begins to show itself, demanding to be faced. At first, the shadow feels threatening. You've been trained to push it away, to deny it, to act as though those parts don't exist. But now you can't unsee it. The irritation in your chest, the jealousy you judge in others, the anger that rises without warning, all of it is your shadow asking to be acknowledged, not suppressed. It is your wholeness knocking, and here comes the overwhelming part. Once you see your shadow, you begin to see it in others. Conversations that once felt harmless now vibrate with hidden motives. You notice the masks people wear, the pain beneath their laughter, the projections in their complaints. Suddenly, every interaction feels layered, heavy, loaded with energy that no one else seems to notice. It's not that people are bad. It's that most people are unconscious of their shadow. They think they are the mask. But when your soul awakens, your body can no longer tolerate what is false. It feels suffocating, like trying to breathe in a sealed room. You crave truth the way lungs crave oxygen. Authenticity becomes the only nourishment you can digest. And then something shocking happens. You realize the people who irritate you most are mirrors. The friend who always needs to be right, that used to be you. The colleague desperate for validation, that's the wound you're still healing. Jung wrote, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Awakening is relentless in showing you your own reflection. At first you blame others. You think they are asleep, shallow, unconscious. Then comes the harder truth, you were just like them, and in many ways still are. Awakening doesn't place you above others. It humbles you. It reminds you that what you see in them is alive in you. The line between their shadow and your shadow dissolves into one shared mirror. But here lies the danger, spiritual ego. The belief that you are enlightened and everyone else is lost. This is just another mask, another persona dressed in sacred robes. Jung warned that awakening without humility becomes inflation, a swelling of the ego rather than the soul. Real growth is not superiority. It is compassion for yourself, for others, for who you once were. When compassion enters, the fatigue begins to soften. Instead of bracing yourself against people, you begin to see their masks with tenderness. You remember your own. You recognize their unconsciousness as a survival strategy, not a flaw. And suddenly, even discomfort becomes sacred. It mirrors the very parts of you that still long for healing. Compassion turns burden into teacher. This shift doesn't erase the loneliness, but it reframes it. You're not disconnected because you're broken. You're disconnected because the old bonds were built on masks, not truth. As those masks dissolve, so do the relationships attached to them. What falls away was never yours. What remains will be. This is the pruning of awakening, the painful clearing that makes space for real roots. And so the journey deepens. Awakening isn't about escaping others. It's about integrating your wholeness so you can finally relate without losing energy. The shadow is not your enemy. It is your compass. Every irritation, every trigger, Every projection is a breadcrumb back to yourself. And once you learn to follow those breadcrumbs, isolation slowly transforms into alignment. Empaths feel this stage with double intensity. Your nervous system was wired to sense the unsaid, to absorb the moods of others, to heal before you even heal yourself. So when masks fall, it isn't just awareness, it's overload. You don't just see the shadow. You feel it buzzing in your chest, like static electricity running through your veins. For a while, you may mistake this intensity for love, because the pull is magnetic, the emotions overwhelming, the connection undeniable. But intensity is not intimacy. What you often feel is your nervous system entangled in someone else's wounds. It's the body confusing trauma with passion, survival with attachment, and that illusion can take years to unravel. This is why so many empaths attract narcissists. Not because you are weak, but because you are wired to soothe what is broken. You sense their emptiness, their hunger, their need for control, and your instinct is to pour yourself into the cracks. But here is the truth. No amount of love can fill a void that someone refuses to face. Jung reminded us, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Narcissists run from this terror. Empaths often try to rescue them from it. But the awakening shows you what you called love was often rescue. What you called connection was often survival. And the day you see this clearly, the bond begins to dissolve. But the dissolution is brutal. Your body protests. Your heart clings. Your nervous system screams. This feels like death. And in a sense, it is the death of an old self, an old pattern, an old illusion of love. But remember, every death in the psyche is a birth disguised. Something larger, truer, freer is waiting to be born. And so begins the detox of the soul. You stop chasing calls that drain you. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You begin to notice the silence between interactions, and instead of fearing it, you breathe into it. The absence of chaos starts to feel like peace. The emptiness starts to feel like space. This space is sacred. It is where your nervous system rewires, where your body learns the difference between anxiety and excitement, between intensity and intimacy, between pain and presence. Every breath and silence is a thread weaving your nervous system back into safety, back into balance, back into the truth of your own rhythm. And slowly clarity dawns. You realize you were never too much. You were simply tuned too finely to survive in noise. You were never too sensitive. You were born to sense what others ignore. Your empathy was never the problem. It was the gift. The wound was in how you gave it away without boundaries, mistaking self-sacrifice for love. Boundaries become your alchemy. At first, they feel like walls, harsh, rigid, foreign, but over time, they become bridges. They connect you to others without losing yourself. They protect not by hardening your heart, but by clarifying your energy. A true boundary is not a rejection. It is an invitation to meet in truth, not in illusion. And this is where relationships begin to transform. They are no longer about rescue or ego battles. Instead, they become spacious, grounded, and alive. Connections with family, friends, or community are no longer about survival or approval, but about resonance. Awakening teaches you to meet others from wholeness, not from need. And that changes everything. With space and boundaries established, you start noticing who truly resonates with you. These connections aren't forced, aren't convenient, they feel effortless. Conversations flow, energy aligns, and presence becomes more nourishing than any small talk or social obligation ever was. You begin to see that the people who remain are mirrors of your own authenticity. They don't ask you to shrink. They don't project their pain onto you. They simply hold space for you, and in return, you hold space for them. These are soul-aligned connections, the rare, the real, the enduring. Solitude no longer feels like loneliness. It feels like preparation, a clearing of your field, a recalibration of your energy, a chance to return to yourself. This sacred pause allows your soul to rest, recover, and open to relationships that honor your essence instead of draining it. You no longer relate the way you once did. That is not a loss, it is evolution. You stop matching others' energy to avoid conflict or gain approval. Instead, you anchor yourself in presence, letting your peace guide the dynamics. Your relationships become reflections of your inner alignment. Old connections fade naturally. It isn't rejection or abandonment. It is simply the shedding of relationships built on illusion, not truth. Grieving these departures is part of awakening, but it is also a reminder. Every ending is a step toward the people and connections that truly belong in your life. As your inner wholeness grows, you attract others who speak your energetic language. They are not perfect, but they resonate with your frequency. They challenge you only to expand, they nurture your growth, and they honor your presence. This is the magic of soul-aligned connections, rare, but transformative. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Every moment of fatigue, disconnection, and sensitivity you felt was part of this privilege. The isolation, the overwhelm, the exhaustion, they were the invitations to step into your authentic self. When you embrace this truth, you reclaim your inner space. You no longer give it away to approval, expectation, or obligation. You protect your energy not by shutting down, but by being fully present and fully yourself. And from this place, life opens up in ways that were previously impossible. Your relationships, your work, your creativity, they all transform. You engage not from fear, guilt, or habit, but from choice, clarity, and alignment. You become a living example of integration, showing that authenticity doesn't isolate, it attracts what is real, vital, and nourishing. If you've been feeling drained, unseen, misunderstood, too sensitive, or even a little lost, know this is completely normal. It's not a flaw, it's part of the awakening process. Just by arriving at this video, you've already shown your courage to look beneath the masks and search for meaning. I'm proud of you. Trust this journey. Very soon, you'll begin to see life from a completely new perspective, surrounded by people whose energy truly matches yours. You had to release the false connections so the real soul-aligned ones could find their way to you. Embrace it. Your awakening is leading you home.